now the end is near, and so I face the final curtain. My friends, I'll say it clear, I'll state my case, of which I'm certain. I've lived a life that's full, I've traveled each and every highway, and more, much more than this, I did it my way. Regrets, I've had a few, but then again, too few to mention. I did what I had to do, and I saw it through without exemption. I've planned each charted course, each careful step along the byway, and more, much more than this, I did it my way. Yes, there were times, I'm sure you knew, when I bit off more than I could chew. But through it all, when there was doubt, I ate it up and I spit it out. I faced it all and I stood tall and did it my way. I've loved, I've laughed and I've cried. I've had my fill, my share of losing. And now as tears subside, I find this all so amusing. To think I did all that, and may I say, not in a shy way. Oh no, not me. I did it my way. For what is a man? What has he got? If not himself, then he has not but to say the things he truly feels, and not the words of one who kneels. Let the record show I took all the blows. I did it my Yes, it was my way.
Tired of going down, tired of myself, tired of this town.
Yeah, Freestyle Friday number 17. My name is E-Double, his name is Tom Petty, and here we go. Small pond, big pond, the fish are the only difference. City out of harmony, lingering on the dissonance. Fishermen wrapping up citizens with their fishing nets. Sometimes chemicals, some played old imprisonment. Dissidents laughing at themselves as if they had a voice, acting like technology really gives them a better choice. Protect the borders as we stack up our elitism. Defeatism is what we pretend that we keep believing in. I'm straddling both lines, the quietest revolt. Politicians fake like they caring that we vote. Legalese verbose, cause if it's plain English, then it's ADD riddle and riddle. Children might get it, and if they do, then you're fucked. When they know what's up, you might start seeing public servants dressed as little punks. No tie, no suit, they just looking for some truth.
Welcome in to 2 nights in a row. Holy crap. I think hell may have actually froze over, folks. But last night, while I was streaming, I got a story slipped to me that I did not see till after I got off the stream, because I generally don't pay attention to any social media interactions and stuff while I'm streaming. I just don't do that for obvious reasons. But anyway, so as some of you may know, I've covered this content creator once or twice back when the uproar kind of started about how this creator, Jeremy Hales, was having some adversarial confrontations with his neighbors. So I covered it. He filed a DMCA against me. I counter claimed against it, and YouTube agreed with me, and his claim was dismissed. I've seen real quick that at that point in time, Mr. Hales was going to be a thorn in the side of many content creators on this channel. One of those, which is somebody who I've had a history now, probably for almost 2 years, maybe a little bit more now. Dave, Super Dave, Milltown's Best. Dave and I has had a, we'll say it's been a interesting journey in our interactions over the last, like I say, year and a half, 2 years, whatever. Contentious, just downright contentious at time. But I always felt like Dave was a fairly decent dude. And he, to me, was always like, oh, it's just another, Dave's just another typical YouTuber such as myself or anybody else, especially that's on the small side or the smaller, side of the sub count. I think he actually has more than me in subs now, but anyway, about a year or so ago, got wind that Jeremy Hales from What the Hales YouTube channel had filed a lawsuit, and he had identified 10 defendants. 8, I believe, if I remember the number correctly, 8 of them were YouTubers. Dave, Super Dave from Milltown's Best was one of them. An elderly gentleman, a little bit older than me, I think. If there's a few YouTubers that are older than me, I look, it happens. By the name of Ray Bone Crusher, seems like a real nice guy, who recently lost his sweet bride after many years of marriage, and don't really know Ray, never really talked with Ray. I know sometimes he comes and hangs out in back when I was streaming more often, he would come hang out in my chat every once in a while. But I send Ray my deepest condolences. I've been married for 30 years myself, and the day will come where one of us will pass, and I just hope it's me personally first, because I don't really think I could. I just don't know how I'd handle life if I didn't have my soulmate, my helpmate there beside me. That I can't even imagine the pain and so the grief and adjustment that he's having to go through. And so my most deepest condolences to Mr. Ray. Two Leaves in a Pod. There's a laundry list of others, but I don't remember their names, and so no disrespect to them, but those are just the ones that quickly come to mind on this. But anyway, there was a total of 10 defendants that were listed in this lawsuit, and I actually covered this on this. You go down through here on this video right here. Jeremy Hales files major lawsuit against several other YouTubers, and this is actually a cut down version of because I stream. Typically, I don't really too often make just like standalone videos because honestly, I'm a horrible editor and I'm a tightwad. And I don't want to pay nobody to edit. So I'll just kind of do the best I can, I'll clip down my streams, whatever. But it's a little short segment, about 20-minute video of the stream that I did where I went over the original lawsuit and the allegations that Jeremy was claiming against these other content creators. And I'm not a lawyer. And I don't know anything about the law other than a very layman's understanding of the law. Let me just get that right off the cuff here as well. And I did not sleep in a Holiday Inn or whatever last night. So that doesn't make me an expert by no means or shape or anything like that. Right. But anyway, I got this new filing. Let me pull this up here on the screen here. I got this new filing. I don't like the way that's laid out. What about this one? Is that better? Shit, no. How about this one? There we go. That's better. So I got this filing that was sent to me. This is a filing that just came, and this is coming from a magistrate judge by the name of Zachary C. Bolithio. Bolithio, I think is how you say his name. Anyway, he is a United States magistrate judge. This is coming out of the North District of Florida. And this is in regards to a filing. This is a filing that this magistrate has issued to the judge. Now, again, I'm not a lawyer and I don't presume to say I know a whole lot about nothing. Other than I will say, I took this document and I uploaded it into an AI, one of those AI things that said, hey, AI, give me a summary of what this thing and what this is. And let me see here. Let me find that. Oh, you know what I need? I need about a half a dozen more stinking screens. That's what I really need. Okay, let's see. Let me find this. Let me do this real quick. Let's see if we can go back to this for just a second here, so I can drag this over here on my big screen because it's down on my little. Okay, so basically, this is what I think I used the Gemini AI for this, and this is what this says: is this document is a report and recommendation issued by the United States Magistrate Judge Zachary C. Bothilio in the case of Elephant Shoes LLC, which is the name of the corporation or LLC that Jeremy Hales operates under for his, because by trade he buys abandoned storage lockers, and he has a resale company that he takes the stuff out of there, from those lockers and sells them. That's his, and he makes YouTube videos on that. But he kind of got entrenched into some local politics. He bought a home down in Otter Creek, Florida, and it kind of started having some run-ins with neighbors, started having some run-ins with the local political infrastructure, local, offices, things like that. Anyway, he started anyway. That's where all this kind of arose from. Really, is that there were people, YouTubers, some of which who was like fans of his, had watched his content, watched his, found him, informative, entertaining, as as far as how to do buy lockers and things like that. Um, anyway, but they did not like how he started interacting with his neighbors and people within the government bodies there in Otter Creek that he was having. He'd kind of run sideways of, if you will. Anyway, this case involves Jeremy Hales, a social media content creator who alleges that various individuals formed a anti-What the Hales media ecosystem to harm his businesses. That was the nut or the heart of what this whole lawsuit that had the 10 defendants in it. That's what it was. It was that he was asserting that these 10 people from all across the United States had came together in an attempt to form a conspiracy, if you will, to destroy his YouTube, to destroy his ability to make money through, I guess, his purchasing of these, abandoned storage, units and stuff. So let's see. There were 10 individuals. This is John Cook and Miss Preston Madskin, who, if I'm remembering, it's been a while. It's been over a year since I talked or read or did anything on this. I believe Madskin was Miss Preston and Mr. Cook's lawyers on some other things. And like most lawyers these days, they have YouTube channels and they make content out of legal cases and such like that, right? Someone by the name of Hughes, Helms, Kezi, Tuschendorf, Mr. Bone Crusher, and then Luthman. And I'm sure I'm saying some of these names incorrectly, and for that I do apologize. But anyway, so the plaintiff filed a 70-page second amended complaint alleging various violations, including the Lanham Act, which alleged depreciative trade practices and trademark violations, Florida Deceptive and Unfair Trade Practices Act, the FDUTPA, claims of unfair trade practices, tortious interference claims that defendants interfered with Hales' businesses, relationships with platforms like YouTube and whatnot. Civil conspiracy allegations that defendants worked together to harm the plaintiff's business, and included malicious prosecution in Florida's, and I don't understand all this, but malicious prosecution in Florida's sexual cyber harassment law. I don't know if I don't know if he's thinking some of these YouTubers were sexually harassing him via cyber. I don't know, because I'll be honest with you, I don't watch Mr. Hale's content. Every once in a while, I would try to, over the last year or so, I would try to kind of keep somewhat abreast of it. I'd try to catch, like basically Super Dave, when he would talk about it and stuff like that, because that's really more of my end or my connection to this was Dave. But Dave kind of quit talking about it, which I understood. I mean, this guy was, he had a several $100,000 lawsuit that was being alleged against him. And Dave is just a young man, just kind of getting started in the world. He ain't got that kind of money, so he kind of quit talking about it. And I know he had a lot of, anxiety, which I totally understand. I'd be a little bit fretting too, if somebody was trying to sue me for, several hundred thousands of dollars. But anyway, so that's pretty much the end of it, as far as the synopsis or whatever you want to call it. But anyway, So if we come back over here to this is what the magistrate, and if I understand things correctly on this, this was the judge that's overseeing this handed it down to the magistrate. I think basically kind of, I guess, kind of handle things or try to maybe do some mediation or something like that, maybe possibly. But anyway, here's what the magistrates finally, what he's submitted this. This is the report on the case, and this is his recommendation to the judge on what he believes should occur next. Okay. This was filed on the 10th, which was yesterday. And this is a 45-page document, but bless y'all's hearts, you're not going to have to sit here and listen to me to read all 45 pages. I'm going to basically cover a little bit of the recommendation here, get it down in a little bit into the, maybe a little bit of the background or whatever, and then I'll get down to the summarization and recommendation, or the actual, what he is, I guess, I'm not going to say he's going to, well, he's telling the judge should happen, but he's recommending to the judge what should happen. So it says plaintiffs, in this, again, this is Elephant Shoes LLC, which is the Jeremy Hales Corporation, LLC Corporation. And primary, I guess, defendant is John Cook, also all the other defendants here. So it says plaintiffs commenced this case against 10 defendants, 8 of whom are proceeding pro se. Pro se meaning they're representing themselves. These poor guys, they didn't even have money for a lawyer. You get into these type of lawsuits and things like that, it costs a lot of money. And, we're talking about into the tens of thousands, if not hundreds of thousands of dollars. And, it's not something people just have laying around, not normal people, anyone, or any way I know, It says the operative complaint is a sprawling 74-page second amended complaint, which means that the original complaint was submitted to the courts, which started this legal process, this lawsuit. The plaintiffs were told, "Hey, you're basically." Because I was listening a little bit, because Two Leaves in a Pod did when this broke loose, whatever, they did a thing over there on their channel and stuff. And of course, since they've been going through this, and they were actually two of the defendants, or the owner of the channel, Two Leaves in a Pod, is one of the defendants that was listed. They, of course, they have more knowledge and than me, but I just kind of want to update my viewers, because like I said, I've been kind of covering this and so forth. But anyway, this said the borders, said here, the operating complaint is a sprawling 74 page Second Amendment complaint with pages and pages of YouTube links that borders on a shotgun pleading. Document 76. Plaintiffs allege valid, which basically means they were just, if you've ever heard the old expression, you're just slinging up against the wall to see what sticks. That's basically what they were saying here, was a shotgun pleading. They basically loaded up their gun with all this stuff and was shooting the wall, and they're wanting to see, okay, so what's going to stick out of all these allegations that they're asserting towards these defendants, these 10 defendants, right? And they got on to them and said, hey, you can't do this. You have to be very specific. You can't just, because when you cite a law or a thing that you're going after, a lot of times you have to drill down into it, and you have to, because there's like I don't know what you call it, paragraphs or whatever, that's, because the law can say, well, this is an umbrella, and then underneath this umbrella, there's all these, and you have to be very succinct. You have to be very specific about what actual branch of this law that you're alleging that these people committed, right? What violation did they commit underneath this law? And rather than just doing the big broad one, again, the shotgun quote approach. So it says the plaintiff alleges violations in the Lanham Act, along with various state law claims. Currently before the court are motions to dismiss filed by 8 defendants. Docs 52 through 127 here. It says plaintiffs have responded in opposition to the motion to dismiss. Docs 62 through 145. For the reasons below, the motions to dismiss should be granted, right? So what this magistrate is setting up right here is the motions to dismiss should be granted, which means the case thrown out, the lawsuit be dismissed, which is really good news for the 10 defendants. That, because Jeremy Hales is a lot larger creator, has a lot larger platform, and I've seen some behavior and things that Mr. Hales was doing that, in my rudimentary understanding of terms of service under YouTube and things, I personally think that he violated. One of the things that he did, one of the streams that he did, because he was having a hard time serving some of the defendants, right? Like one of the defendants he was having a hard time was Mr. Ray Bonecrusher, because he didn't know Ray's last name and he couldn't get his address. So he didn't know where to serve the papers to him for, because when you file a lawsuit against somebody, you have to be able to serve them official notification, which means you have to have the either delivered via certified mail, means they have to sign to receive it, or more times than not, especially on something of this magnitude, they hire a server, right, to go find the person and deliver the summons to address these charges that are, or this lawsuit that's been assigned to him. When he couldn't find Dave, Super Dave, to serve him, and he was having problems finding Mr. Bonecrusher. Now, I seen a stream, and in that stream, like I said, because Jeremy Hales has a very large following. Let me just go out here to his YouTube channel, and let's just see where his sub is at right now. What the hell's? Okay. So he has, if you look here, he has 741,000 subs, right? And so he did a live stream. I don't know where it's at or what. I don't have it pulled up or anything like that. But as you can see, he has made several streams and videos and stuff. This is one of his neighbors. I think her last name is Lynette or something of that nature. Anyway, in one of these live streams that he did here, he and I couldn't believe that he did this. He put a bounty out on Super Dave, and I think the bounty was like $100 or $1,000, something like that, for anybody that could find his current address and get it to him, so that because he had a private investigator that he'd hired to try to find Dave's residence so he could be served. He put an actual bounty out on his YouTube channel. Now, again, I'm not a legal expert. I'm not a lawyer, but to me, that would be inciting against another YouTuber, which in terms of service, you're not supposed to do. You're not supposed to, to do things like that. I mean, it was like almost like they were trying to target dox him or something, and I just thought that was really, really uncalled for. I thought that was really out of bounds. Really, I think it goes to. I think it says a little something about his what do you call it? Private investigator that he hired if he couldn't find Dave. Anyway, so anyway, he says that the magistrate says for these reasons below and so he goes in through, there's lots and lots of pages of going through all the legalities and wherefores and therefore and thous and these and those and so on and so forth. But I wanted to get down here towards the end of this because, like I said, I don't want to just I didn't want to just bore you guys to tears. I'm going to get down here to the very, where is it at? Okay. Yeah, here we go. Let's go back over here. So he says, this is conclusion. It says, for the reasons above, it is respectfully recommended that defendant Helm's motion to dismiss document 52 be granted and the claims against defendant Helm dismissed with prejudice for a failure to state a claim. So that means, if I understand correct, whatever, that he's asking the judge, this magistrate judge is recommending to the judge that's overseeing this case to dismiss this with prejudice, which means that he can't refile. Hales cannot come back after and refile these same charges against these 10 defendants again, right? If the judge agrees with the recommendation, then that's it, right? Goes on to say here, defendant Hughes' motion to dismiss be granted and the claims against defendant Hughes dismissed with the prejudice for failure to state claim. Defendant Matzkin's motion to be dismissed, document, of course, it lists all the documents here, to be granted and the claims against defendant Matzkin's dismissed with prejudice for failure to state a claim. Defendant Cook's motion to be dismissed and the claims against, again, every one of them, the Lees, Mr. Ray, Bone Breaker, it's Bone Crusher, but anyway, Kinski's motion. Dave, here's the friend of the channel, Dave. Teschendorf's motion dismiss will be granted and the claims against him dismissed with prejudice for failure to state a claim. Now, one thing I did see here that I wanted to show out here was that there was a I don't know what you call this thing, like a footnote or whatever. It says defendant Teschendorf also seeks reasonable attorney fees under Florida's anti-SLAPP statute, but defendant Teschendorf is not entitled to such fees because he is proceeding pro se. Okay, so that's the thing. Since even though I'm sure Dave may have been out some money, right? File, as far as like, because when you file with court systems and stuff, there's usually a fee associated with it. Now, what is that cost? I don't know. I have no idea. What was Dave's time worth, as far as having to do research and trying to find the forms and things like that, and to get these forms filed right properly. Because again, per se, it means you're doing it on your own. You don't have an attorney, and so you have a layman trying to. And with court systems, everything has to be, every I has to be dotted, every T has to be crossed, everything has to be just so, right? Now, normally when a defendant is defending themselves per se, judges tend to be a little bit more lenient. But they're still you're still expected to come in there knowledgeable enough on how to proceed and how to do things, right? And so, so my hat off to these guys that got this paperwork and got those, forms and documents filed and stuff, what have you. And I do think they had some, I think they did have some lawyers that were kind of pro bono helping them with some things and stuff like that. But anyway, continuing on here, it says this matter to be recommitted to the undersigned for further proceedings involving defendants Preston and Luthman, as well as the determination of the reasonable attorney fees due to defendant Helm under Florida's anti-SLAPP statute at Pensacola, Florida, this 10th day of February 2026. And then it's signed Zachary C. Balathio. It says notice to parties. Objection to these proposed findings and recommendations must be filed within 14 days of the day of the report and recommendation. Any deferment deadline that may appear the electronic docket is for the court's attorney use only and does not control. Any objecting party must serve a copy of the objection to all on all of the parties. The party who fails to object to the magistrate judge's findings or recommendations contained in the report and recommendation waives the right to challenge on appeal the district court's order based on unobjected to factual and legal conclusions. So that means that since this was filed on the 10th, that means Jeremy Hales, through his attorneys, so will have until the 24th of this month to file any type of objections to what is being recommended here by the magistrate. Also, any of the 10 defendants, if they felt like that, if for some reason Dave decided, hey, no, I object, I should still be allowed to get money through for attorney fees and stuff, even if I was doing per se, pro se or whatever, I should still be afforded certain monies or whatever. Which Dave, obviously, I don't think he's going to do. I haven't talked to Dave or anything of that nature, but I don't think he's going to do anything like that because that would be kind of a little bit silly, I think, maybe. Because, then you're opening it back up. Just let it go. I mean, the judge, this magistrate's recommending to the judge overseeing the case, hey, to dismiss this thing with prejudice, meaning that, that Jeremy can't come at any of them ever again about this stuff. So, I'm sure that all of the defendants in this thing are breathing a little bit easier, right? And I are probably sleeping a little bit better, and congratulations to them. And I hope that this brings a conclusion to all this, although I suspect as Mr. Hales tends to be very he loves to sue, right? He's a litigator, and so I'm going to assume more than likely that his attorney is going to file some sort of objection to this recommendation and filing, because if they don't, basically what this means is that because he was suing these 10 people in total over $10 million he was seeking in damages. There's no telling how much money Jeremy has spent in legal fees, right, on this case alone, right? Because you've got 10 separate defendants, right? And like I said, he had to hire people to serve these papers to all 10 defendants. And like I say, there was a couple of them that he had problems, which means, how much money did he have to spend to his, on his, private eyes or whatever, whoever it was he was paying to serve these papers. How much did he spend in those fees, right? And then on top of that, there are some of the defendants, because remember, there was only 8 that were representing themselves. So that means 2 of them had lawyers, which means they have legal fees, right? And they were filing under the Florida anti-SLAPP law, because that's where this was filed at. Which means if this goes through and everything, the court could very well rule that Jeremy is then now going to have to turn around and pay for their legal fees. He's going to have to reimburse those 2 defendants, whatever it cost them for lawyer fees. So that's even more money out of pocket, right? That's pretty much it. An update to this story. Congratulations, I guess, to the 10 defendants. Hopefully this pursues through. And, and if Mr. Hales, through his attorney and stuff, files some sort of objection to this, hopefully it will be quickly addressed and dealt with, and this will go on through, and this will finally be put to bed and put to rest. I've always been a very big. If you go and look through my channel over the years, whenever there were YouTubers that were going and filing, DMCA's or going after other YouTubers that, trying to bully or intimidate, especially if they're larger creators, smaller creators that were in fair use, right? In fair use, were criticizing and critiquing their, things that they've said or actions that they've done. I've always, tried to lend a voice to them as well, to make their cause more noticeable. And like I say, I've done what I could to primarily for like I say, for Dave, because Dave is the person that I do have a a connection with, as far as knowing him and communicating, talking with him over the years. And so pretty much every step of the way, I've covered and talked about this, and in turn, like I said, I've had my own dealings with Mr. Hales and DMCA and stuff like that. But like I said, so I wish these guys the best. I hope this is finally the end of it. I hope this puts a kibosh on the whole thing. And what YouTubers, really anybody on social media, what they have to understand is once you start putting stuff out there, be it on your Facebook or your TikTok or YouTube or X or Kick or whatever it is, whatever social media platform, it does not matter. Okay. When you start putting it out there and you start putting your public opinions and your public, and your views out for the public to ingest, right, or to hear and stuff, you are then a public figure. Now, you're not a Hollywood starlet, right, or star or anything like that nature, but it doesn't matter. You're a public figure. And so your words, your actions, your deeds are 100% open to criticism and critique, right? Lord knows I have had many people over the history and life of this channel that have critiqued and criticized things that I've said or things that I've done or positions that I've taken on a particular subject. And then sometimes, some cases, you know what? Those people were right. More times than not, they're not. They're wrong. Right? But they're still entitled to their opinions. They're still entitled to come in and take, streams that I've done or videos that I put up and critique and criticize, what have you. That's fine. That's called running commentary. Then under the Fair Use Act, that's exactly what that is. They can't take my entire IP or my video, whatever, or my stream, and just completely take it and totally re-upload it. Now that's infringement. You can't do that. You have to modify it in some way, right? You have to, through editing or through offering voiceover commentary or something of that nature. You have to do something to transform the original content so that it is not a replacement of the original, but it's something brand new when it's all said and done. And that was one thing that Mr. Hales always had a problem with. He thought that if you used any of his, like the one he filed on me, I used maybe, I'll be generous and say 10 seconds of one of his videos. And he tried to take my video down and claim the entire thing, saying that it was, I infringed on his intellectual property, which it was not. And I prevailed. And so I've always been very diligent and I've helped other people when they go to file their claims, counterclaims to these things. I help them fill them out and the verbiage to use and things to help them, to navigate those things because it can be a little bit daunting. It can be a little bit daunting when if you've never had one before. How do you handle it? Well, you do, whatever, right? But anyway, like I said, I really hope that this kind of finally puts a pin in this and pushes it over and it's done with. And I hope that those 10 defendants can finally put this behind them so they can rest their heads a little bit more easier at evening and get on with their lives. I really do hope that. And anyway, we got some sad news. The world got some sad news today. The actor, James Van Der Beek, he was best known for playing on Dawson's Creek, played the character Dawson Leary. He passed away today. He was 48 years old. He had been struggling and fighting colorectal cancer since 2023. So about 3 years he had been fighting this. He leaves a wife and I believe it's 6 children behind. 48 years old. Just sad news. He starred in several movies and TV shows and things, and just everything that everything that I've seen. People had a lot of positive things to say about the man. I did come across this Twitter account here, Vids That Go Hard. This was a video that James, Mr. Beek, had uploaded. I'm not sure if it's like on his Instagram or whatever, but this person took it and posted over here, and I don't know. I thought was I'm gonna let his words speak for him.
Today's my birthday, and it has been the hardest year of my life, and I wanted to share something that I learned with y'all. When I was younger, I used to define myself as an actor, right? Which was never really all that fulfilling. And then I became a husband, and that was much better. And then I became a father, and that was the ultimate. I could define myself then as a loving, capable, strong, supportive husband, father, provider, steward of the land that we're so lucky to live on. And for a long time, that felt like a really good definition to the question, who am I? What am I? And then this year, I had to look my own mortality in the eye. I had to come nose to nose with death. And all of those definitions that I cared so deeply about were stripped from me. I was away for treatment, so I could no longer be a husband that was helpful to my wife. I could no longer be a father who could pick up his kids and put them to bed and be there for them. I could not be a provider because I wasn't working. I couldn't even be a steward of the land because at times I was too weak to prune all the trees during the window that you're supposed to prune them. And so I was faced with the question, if I am just a too skinny, weak guy alone in an apartment with cancer, what am I? And I meditated and the answer came through. I am worthy of God's love. Simply because I exist. And if I'm worthy of God's love, shouldn't I also be worthy of my own? And the same is true for you. And as I move through this healing portal toward recovery, I wanted to share that with you because I think that revelation that came to me was due in no small part to all the prayers and the love that have been directed toward me. So I offer that to you. However it sits in your consciousness, however it resonates, run with it. And if the word God trips you up, I certainly don't know. I can't claim to know what God is or explain God. My efforts to connect to God are an ongoing process that is a constant unfolding mystery to me. But if it's a trigger, it feels too religious, you can take the word God out and your mantra can simply be, I am worthy of love. Because you are. Thank you for the love and prayers, everyone. Have a blessed day. Today,
And that just really resonated with me quite a bit. He's 48 years old. I'm 57. And he's been taken away from his wife, his children, his family, and his friends. But to me, it was nice to see that as he went through life and as as you grow and you develop some wisdom, or you should, that he started, he realized that, being an actor wasn't what was important. When he became a husband, that was a big part of making him, completing who he is as a person. And then when he became a father, then it just overwhelms you. Being a parent is probably one of the hardest and yet most rewarding jobs that anybody can undertake. And then coming to the realization that irrespective of all these other things and accolades that he did as an actor and whatever something, when it all boils down to that he was worthy of love. And I think that was just so powerful and so profound. So rest in peace, sir. Godspeed. And peace and understanding to your family and friends. Sadly, and this is sad. Even though the man had success as an actor and stuff, because of the cost and treatments of the cancer, the family's finances were gone. He was actually doing things to raise money for cancer awareness. Friends of his, former co-actors and co-stars and stuff at shows, were doing things and doing fundraisers and stuff to help him and help people with cancer and stuff. His wife has started a GoFundMe. And anyway, there's like I said, GoFundMe. When they first submitted, when I first saw this, they had, I think they were asking like $365,000 or something like that. And it only been up for a little bit, and people had almost met that goal, and of course they increased the goal and what have you, whatever. There, it says here, reads in the reason for this says, James Van Der Beek was a beloved husband, father, and friend who touched the lives of everyone around him. After a long and courageous battle with cancer, James passed away on February 11th, leaving behind his devoted wife, Kimberly, and their 6 wonderful children. Throughout his illness, the family faced not only emotional challenges, but also significant financial strain as they did everything possible to support James and provide for his care. In the wake of his loss, Kimberly and the children are facing an uncertain future. The cost of James' medical care and the extended fight against cancer has left the family out of funds. They are working hard to stay in their home and to ensure the kids can continue their education and maintain some stability during this incredibly different time. To support our friends, family, and the wider community will make a difference, a world of difference as they navigate the road ahead. It is now has raised $687,000, almost $688,000 of $1 billion goal. Anyway. Like I said, it's sad news. I hate it when a person's so young in age is taken away from their family and loved ones. That's horrible. That's horrible. And I know normally, guys, I have some funny little palate cleansers or something for us to laugh at and yuck at. And I hate ending on such a kind of a down thing there. But just if I could be so brazen, I guess. I talked about this a bit last night, but I kicked the tires on the old jalopy, the Clear as Mud podcast, and fired it back up. It's every Saturday evening at 8 p.m. Eastern Standard Time. We have there's 4 of us. It started out with just me and Jessica Pizzo, who was a former host back when we were really hot and heavy with it and stuff. Then I asked the other former co-host if they wanted to, and because of their scheduling and stuff, whatever, they couldn't do it. So then I reached out to the lovely Miss Bunny Buttons, and she said, "Oh, she would love to." And so, like I said, we've had a few streams so far. And anyway, last week we were rejoined by the lovely Seth is back. Now I don't know if Seth's gonna be able to be there every show or not, whatever. Her, she lives on the other side of the world from us, and so when this show goes on, it's the middle of the night, early morning for her. It's like 2:00 in the morning or some nonsense. So that's, I think, kind of it's kind of a really a big ask for her, and that's why that was part of the reason, her work schedule and so on and so forth was why she wasn't able to initially come back. Now, I'll tell you, we're not really talking too much about. We don't really talk about drama stuff. Not that we won't ever talk about drama things, but that's not our focus. Our focus is to talk about just wild, oddball news that we find out there. It could be from anything from a what was it, one week we did one was one of them darned what they call them, Disney adults or whatever, throwing just having an absolute meltdown because they had a drink spilled on them in a restaurant. Things of that nature. It's everything. We last week we talked about the LCU getting their name on one of these stock cars that's going to be going on at Talladega race here in a little bit. So anyway, if you if you find me somewhat entertaining, or if you like Pizzle or Bunny, or if you don't know any of those, or Seth, I think we have a pretty good show over there. We have a lot of laughs, a lot of goofs, gaffs, and we just don't take ourselves too terribly serious anymore. So anyway, guys, that's going to be it. I'm going to, those of you who came out tonight, I appreciate you. I do appreciate you, and I'm going to send you guys over to K Huck, because she's doing a stream tonight. That's the only one. When I set this up, she was the only one I seen out there active, whatever. But listen, I appreciate you. Take care. Remember to keep your powder dry, and I will see you in the funny papers.